Great to be back again, and wonderful, Tim, to have you here in Singapore. Hopefully you recovered from running around on the outskirts of that marathon course yesterday.
Well, I didn't run, so I had it easy. I had an early wake-up call, and my breakfast might have been a little bit cold, but I was good.
Had a great day. Good stuff. What a wonderful job you have. I'm sure there are many very envious people in the audience. Tell us a little bit about your role as CEO of the Abbott World Marathon Majors, please, Tim.
Yeah, sure. So very blessed and very lucky to work with such great events. The Abbott World Marathon Majors started 12 years ago as a way to elevate the sport, as a way to get more folks involved, as a way to tell stories of the elite athletes. It did a good job of that for about a decade in terms of really raising that profile of elite athletes, rewarding them for their performances. As we all know, some of the best athletes in the world hit our start lines and finish lines. For me, it really changed when I took this role about 4 years ago when Abbott came on as our title partner. And since then, we have literally grown immensely in what we were able to offer. It was a game changer for us. So my role is really to oversee the business and marketing of those initiatives, with just happen to have the backing and the knowledge and the expertise of the 6 best and big running events in the world.
That's great. So I'm interested, obviously, Abbott coming on board on, there was, I guess, a diverse group of 6 races that weren't linked together. What was the kind of genesis from that? Was that Abbott coming to you going to Abbott, and how did that all evolve?
Yeah, so I mean, at the end of the day, the theme of this conference is perfect because really the community of runners that we are trying to build, that the 6 races already had, that was the impetus of the group getting together in the first place. It was meant to be a way to better the community of runners in general, a way to share best practices, a way to really make things open that might not have been open before. So we have a group of folks that Mike Nisha from Chicago's over there. He's presenting tomorrow. He goes around the globe and literally shares those best practices. That's the impetus of really why it was formed. Where Abbott comes in at the end of the day was they saw a vision of the organization to do that to more folks around the globe. And we're very lucky to have Abbott as that partner because it's really what they do. They talk about themselves being a health technology company and being able to motivate folks to live their life to the fullest. And really what that means is they empower people by health. And I don't work for Abbott, I work for the 6 races, but I'm very blessed to have them as a partner, and the 6 races are very blessed to have them as a partner. It's an endemic partnership, and it's truly been powerful for us.
Yeah, and I think, again, showcases the power of collaboration and partnership, and it's been apparent to me in the short bit of time that I've interacted with you guys and Mike and the Running USA, the culture of collaboration and that open sharing, and that's obviously one of the objectives of MPA. And I think we find in this part of the world sometimes people tend to kind of be more guarded. If I share my secret with you, you're going to kind of use it against me, and your event's going to be better than mine, and that's going to impact me commercially. Talk to us, if you will, about how has it evolved into such a collaborative partnership and overcoming this fear of someone might steal my idea.
Yeah, I mean, you could add the word together at the end of that, and that will make it go a heck of a lot quicker, right? And that's what we've seen in the US, and that's what we've seen in different parts of the globe where that has happened in terms of that collaboration. And you might not say you could say there's no new ideas, just improvements of those ideas, and that's really what it's all about, is showing that those best practices together and really sharing that information, because as an industry, all ships may rise, as we talk a lot about that. And that starts from volunteer recruitment to everything that all of our 6 events, what we would consider to be a really high standard. So sharing that helps smaller events, larger events, and it really does help all those ships rise.
Yeah, so I think we were talking about, the guys from Tokyo coming over to, I think it was Chicago or one of the American events, and taking things back, applying them, and then taking them a step further, and then the Chicago event saying we can now learn from, so it almost becomes a virtuous circle.
Yeah, and that was something that it really, when Tokyo joined the Abbott World Marathon Majors several years back, it was a 4 or 5 year process that they literally did come out and have, you know, a tape measure and see how big is this aid station, and then took it back to the lab and said, how can we do this better? And then collaborated with our partners, and just, again, all ships may rise. And it's really powerful when you can remove those borders per se and share that information, because at the end of the day, truly not competing with one another, you're trying to make that experience for the participant better. And that's why you see Where Champions run all over here. I have a tattoo on my leg that says it. I'm kidding, I don't. But that's really what it's about, is the first, Eliud Kipchoge breaks the world record in Berlin as the first runner. He's as important and treated like a champion. That 42nd thousandth runner should be treated the same way and enamored the same way and feel that same sense of accomplishment. Maybe not running a world record, but it's something that we would celebrate them as much.
So talk to me about that then, how that applies to the general industry. So you obviously work together as the 6 races, there's lots of collaboration, but how is that kind of feeding down into the industry in the US and the UK and Japan in terms of, we've spoken a few times and you've used the term twice, you raise the tide and all the boats rise. How do you work to filter that further down into the community?
Well, I mean, we have some exciting initiatives continuing, and really, again, what our partnership with Abbott has let us do, and our partnership now with Wanda that's opened up a whole new world to us, we've been able to bring that message and that collaboration to many more folks. So when it comes to our 6-star system, when it comes to the age group rankings that we announced recently, the point is to get the word out about those standards, to get the word out about the events that really can change people's lives. At the end of the day, that all you have to do is sit at the finish line of a marathon, and everybody in this room knows this, so I'm preaching to the choir, but just sit at the finish line of a marathon, and that is a life-changing thing for sponsors, for participants, for family. That's really how you see what is important and impactful and passionate about our industry. And the more access you can give people to those finish lines is the most powerful thing we can do.
That's great. So you spoke about it being life-changing for sponsors. Abbott at one level. Can you talk about some other partnerships that have seen similar benefits across the world marathon majors?
Yeah, I mean, we are very blessed to also have Wanda as a partner of ours, and that's to be able to bring together the power of Wanda, the power of Ironman, the power of our 6 races, to not only use the lessons that they've learned across the triathlon space and the Ironman space. It's truly powerful, and we're very blessed to be able to bring that knowledge to our ranking system, something that, you know, we now are really talking a lot about, and it's meant to be a truly global system. So there's no fees, there's no criteria. It's meant to be any race that wants to be involved can be involved, because at the end of the day, if we have folks interacting on a global level and truly understanding the global nature of what we all do, it breaks down those walls, as I said before, and it makes the world very, very small. I mean, with all the communication tools and all the things that we have at our disposal these days, I mean, our industry is getting smaller and smaller and smaller, but bigger and more positive things can happen that way.
Talk to us a little bit about the mechanics of that, so that partnership with Wanda, the age group rankings and so on. How does that work for those that may not have be fully aware of it?
Yeah, so we have a multifaceted partnership with Wanda. Part of it is the potential expansion of our series when it comes to these 6 majors at this point. So we have a developmental deal with them to help us get into other parts of the world, because with our 6 events, we do have folks from all over the world coming to the 6 cities. So folks from China, folks from everywhere coming to the actual events themselves. The hope for us is to have an event like the 6 that we have in each region, if you will. So we're specifically, we obviously are in here in Singapore to work on that development of the Singapore Marathon, as well as, you know, we've talked publicly about we want to get into China and the continent of Africa, really to continue to spread that knowledge, to spread that those standards that we have. So that's one piece, and then the other piece is the age group rankings, using the lessons that they've learned from the triathlon space and the World Championships, again, to bring that championship style piece to a global competition. That's really, at the end of the day, the goal.
Fantastic. So I'm sure there's people in the room that are interested from Singapore. You've been coming here for a couple of years. You know, significant changes. The whole event got significantly re-engineered this weekend. Maybe just talk us through what that process is in terms of that potential expansion to a seventh major.
Yeah, I mean, it's a long-term process. The deal that we have with Wanda, it's a decades-long deal, because it is that long of a process in terms of getting, a race to the standard that we have set. And, Boston's 123 years old. So, it's races that have a huge history, that have huge impact, and at the end of the day, are really owned by the cities that they're in. They're not owned by the companies that put them on. They are ingrained in the culture and the DNA of the city. So here in Singapore, we've seen some great progress. Still progress to go as we work with them to get there. We're excited about it. I know our partners at Ironman and Wanda are excited about it, and just more to come. I mean, that's the exciting part, is there's so much more to come.
And I guess kind of exciting in its difference. I mean, you've got these high-level 6 elite events with really fast times, and here you're coming to running in a sauna. Talk about a nighttime event, which is, going to be, I was down there during the day yesterday, but just knowing that space, imagine if they're successfully able to turn that into a night event with that beautiful city backdrop. Something very different in terms of the overlay of what they represent, I think, to the general fan of marathons now. You're not going to ever get a world record set in Singapore, and so it's about creating a kind of a different experience for as part of that mix, apart from targeting different geographies.
Yeah, I mean, when you look at each of our races, each one is so very different, and it's not necessarily about weather. It's about the being a celebration of the city. And what I mean by that is, when you go to the Virgin Money London Marathon, everybody is out in the pubs, everybody's having a great time. It is a true celebration, literally, of the city. You're not only running through the city and the inner workings of the city, but you're celebrating that city. So really, that's the exciting part about all of these conversations and developments, is to celebrate the cities that we're in. I mean, there's no better place to run in New York City than Central Park. Finishes in the middle of Central Park, the lifeblood of that city. Tokyo, you see old and new. Chicago, 29 neighborhoods that you get to run through and really see the different melting pot parts of Chicago that it is. I mean, it gives me chills every time I talk about it, because that's the type of experience we try to provide.
Yeah, and it seems to have that ability, the marathon, as many sporting events do. You go to an Olympics, you go to a World Cup, and you often walk away thinking, well, if we could bottle this spirit for every day of the year. And I think marathon is no different, is it? It absolutely unites a city. And people talk about crime-ridden areas that you wouldn't walk through at any other time of the year, but marathons run through there and unite those communities.
Yeah, I mean, you think about what happens in a sporting stadium in any given city, whether it's a football match or whether it's a Major League Baseball game or whatever it is, that is in that stadium. When you take over some of the largest cities in the world and it becomes that lifeblood, that celebration, that entire city becomes that stadium. So that energy, that reverb of that finish line is just felt not only throughout the city, but throughout every country that is represented as they come to those locations.
And that great humanity of bringing communities together. And we've heard on a couple of presentations today about storytelling, and I'd love to maybe throw to another pretty emotional video of some amazing content, which I think marathon, everybody's got a different reason for running, whether it's overcoming a life-threatening illness or raising money for charity or a bet in a pub. And maybe we throw to this and you can talk a little bit more about the human element of how you capture that in the content.
Sounds good.
Video, thanks, Sean.
We were very happy that he was still alive, because the first message was, it is very critical.
In summer 2017, I had a car accident that 99 out of 100 would die in. I wasn't even sure if I could run again. I was finished with my life. I would say I had no reason anymore, and did not even know how to get back or what to do. in Berlin Marathon 2013. Heard about this amazing challenge with these crazy 6 cities around the world.
When I saw him in the hospital, then I thought,
Son, come on, we gotta get this thing rolling again. You gotta come back, and we got a challenge.
we will rock in New York. That's our game.
Running means the world to me. It pretty much changed my whole life before the accident, and became even a bigger part of my life after it. Running is the best way to show who I am, what I do, and I feel so alive when running now more than ever before. November 4th is pretty much the most special day for myself because it's my birthday. I'll turn 29 this Sunday, and I'm super excited. I think I've never spent a birthday with 50,000 people running.
We achieved maybe the biggest long time goal we've ever had together.
It was a great experience since the last July and 17 with his accident. And then we said we must go to New York and we will rock the 6th star together.
Yeah! I'm just maybe the proudest boy in the world. It's my 29th birthday. I can't imagine a better day than this day. It's the best day of my life.
And I'm a more proud father.
The thing with sons and dads is always the same. He's the first pro model you got, the biggest idol. He showed me what running can be. He brought me to marathon running, and it's amazing to finish the thing together because it changed our relationship, and yeah, it lifts everything between us.
Story, and I'm sure there's many like that. Tell us a little bit more about the 6R system, how it works, and how it brings out some of that great content and those great stories.
Yeah, so for a decade, we had an overall program that did reward folks that had run all 6 events. It was a self-proclaimed system. You would let us know that you're about to run your 6th, and we would put you in our system. We would mail you out a certificate after you did it. It was something that when I took over this role and Abbott came on in 2014, that we had 400 people that had done that over a decade. Because of the partnership with Abbott and really being able to evolve what we were doing, we were able to, and launched a little bit ago, an overall system that tracks your performances. So you can go onto our website, you can sign up, you can claim your stars. So I'm personally a 3-star finisher. I probably won't ever get another star as long as I have this job, but it's something that folks in this room might not even know. If you've run any of our 6 races, you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 stars. So you go on that system, you track your progress. It's something that when you then get your 5th star, you get an automated message from us saying, hey, you're going for your 6th. We then, when you're about to go for your 6th, you let us know. We then have a big, nice medal on top of your race medal for you at the finish line to create moments like that. So the exciting thing about that is I watched that video like 845 times and I cry every time. It's not about the medal. It's not that's a symbol, right? As we all know, that's a symbol of the story. That's a symbol of the journey. The biggest thing that we get literally at that tent when we have several hundred people now finishing each race, the biggest thing that people realize is, crap, what now? What do I do now? Because this was a life goal. This is something that literally changed their life. It might have taken them a decade. It might have taken them a year. It doesn't matter. It was a journey. Goal-oriented people are then saying, what's next? And really what we're trying to do is help them figure out what's next. What is that next Everest to climb? So we now have around 4,000 folks, a little bit more than 4,000 folks that have done it, and hundreds continue each race. So it's exciting. I'm very blessed to be a part of it, and it's just a journey that is taking us all around the globe.
That's wonderful. And how do you, I mean, a nice business problem to have with massively oversubscribed events. How do you then manage that 6-star program? So I get to number 5, and the one I haven't run is Boston, which I have to qualify for. Is there any way that they still follow the whole system? They've got to go and qualify for Boston, they've got to get in and run Boston as a qualified runner. So some of them might get to 5, and you said you get to 3, and you might never get any further. That's kind of how it works.
I mean, that's really part of the journey. That's why it's so special, because
no favors, basically.
Well, we actually do have a new program that we just launched a month or 2 ago that does reward our 5-star finishers. So it's a very small amount of entries. It's a completely random competition. So if you have your 5th star and you have not been able to get into New York for whatever reason, for 5, 6, 7, whatever it might be, or Boston, or whatever event it might be, we're doing a random competition for folks to get their 6th star. So no matter their time, no matter where they're from, we've done it twice now over the last couple months, and it's really cool to see where all these people are coming from and their reaction. And it's only 6 entries, but those 6 entries are absolutely life-changing for those people that maybe they would have never gotten into London, maybe they would have never gotten into Tokyo. So again, this is big stuff in terms of life-changing events that we're just we're part of the journey for those people.
And it is the journey, isn't it? I mean, it's every level. You're not having to be at the pointy end of finishing a marathon under 3 hours or whatever. It's finishing and saying that you've got that medal from each of those.
Yeah, and it's meant to impact as many people as possible. So one of the other facets of what we now do is we reward our wheelchair athletes as a part of the Elite Series. So upping that prize money, upping that just focus on the incredible athletes that those folks are. I mean, here in Singapore, the first ever elite wheelchair race was yesterday, and just to have them a part of the event just gives it more vibrancy, gives it more emotion, gives it another level of competition that maybe some people have never seen. And that's the exciting part, is just being able to have a megaphone for our sport and involving as many people as possible.
Wonderful. I'm interested in obviously, as you've evolved massively since Abbott have come on board, how do you continue to innovate and evolve and maintain standards? It might be easy to say, well, we're the 6 majors and we're sold out every year and we kind of rest on our laurels. How do you get that group working together and constantly driving innovation and growth and standards?
It's not hard to do, because the folks that are on staff of all the events, that's what they do for a living. They want to innovate. They want to improve. That's why half a dozen of us are here to hear different things, here to share different things, and that's really what's it about. At the end of the day, is innovation can happen, but if it doesn't happen with a group of people, it's not going to impact anyone. So really, you see the smartest people in the industry in this room with our staff, whatever it might be. The more we can talk about those things, the more we can share those things. That's how, I've said it, I think, 73 times, but that's how all ships may rise.
Thank you. So we've shared quite a lot about success, 4 years in the role now. What have been some of the biggest challenges in lifting the bar so high? What have been some of the tough moments that you've overcome, and how have you overcome them?
I think it's the toughest thing is what is next? What is the best way that we can steer our ship to impact the most people? So there's a lot more that we want to do. We're trying to figure out that priority in order to globally impact as many people as possible and share those stories and really motivate folks to get into marathoning because we can see that outcome. So we've been methodical with our Elite Series. We added the wheelchair series. We're really promoting our 6-star system. A lot of our focus now is on the age group rankings. At the end of the day, the more events we can get involved in that, the culmination of that is actually an age group world championship that will occur at the London Marathon in 2020. So we're getting another hundreds of registrants for that event just from the world championships. So it's again, it all goes back to those 3 words, treating folks like champions on the largest stage that we have.
Wonderful, that's great. Anything else? We've got a couple of minutes before we're going to close with a video. Anything that you'd love to share? One of the experiences that you've had? I'm interested, obviously, in coming in here to Asia, talking about Singapore, you mentioned Chinese runners and the like, lots now coming to the majors, and we've only really got one in the region in Greater Asia. Something that you're seeing in terms of trends, where do you see it in 10 years' time as a global industry?
It's just an exciting time to be a part of it. That would be my headline. I mean, to be able to go to cities in China that didn't have a marathon 5 years ago and have 3 of them all of a sudden, and to be to see the progress that the team from Ironman Asia has made in the time with this event, just to really, it's an exciting time to see the development of the sport beyond where we've seen it and seen that development. So I think we're all very blessed to be a part of the industry that is growing rapidly and can help steer the direction to impact millions of people.
Yeah, it's, I guess, amazing as well, in that you look at, if you were to make a comparison with some other sports, coming back to Singapore as almost the final point, it's like the tennis Grand Slam saying we'll now add a 5th Grand Slam, or the golf major saying we'll add a 5th major. It's a pretty significant undertaking, and just amazing to see that there's so much interest from the industry to explore it, whether it takes 3 years, 5 years, or never. It shows, I think, the great opportunity within the industry.
Yeah, and really another piece of what we do is we take our role within the sport very seriously, whether that's trying to lead anti-doping efforts and having stricter penalties for athletes that are convicted of a doping offense, to the age group rankings, to working with our partners. I think Alessio's here somewhere in the room from the IAAF, really partnering with the folks that we work on a daily basis to drive that industry and drive this industry forward as much as we can. Because at the end of the day, that is a huge part of our role within our events on a day-to-day basis.
Fantastic. Let's just throw to a video before we do a final wrap.
Just earned my 6-star medal here in New York after a journey of 6 marathons all over the world. Very proud of it. It was a big struggle today, but I'm very happy I made it.
This has just been my dream the past 2 years. I've aimed for this. Fantastic. It's kept me going. I love it. When you get 1 star, you just get addicted until you get all 6.
After 20 years old, I got 6 stars. I'm so glad. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Just to have it is like fulfilling this dream. You will never find anything like this. And I made it.
Thank you, New York. Thank you, all the 6 majors. Every marathon in the May 6 major is special for me. I'm so happy.
Great images, and I guess in summary, an industry with great opportunity, partnership really important, collaboration crucial, sharing knowledge to rise the tide so all the boats rise. Please join me in thanking Tim Hadzima, the Executive Director of the World Marathon Majors. Thank you, Tim.